Good morning everyone. I hope your Easter is continuing safely and comfortably. As I said last week, nothing particularly complicated, but just a little calculator trick to keep us ticking over, and then we'll perhaps start some new stuff next week. So this is the sort of question that you may remember us solving at GCSE. We solved it by saying, okay, the graph of sine x is this sort of familiar shape like this. One full cycle takes 360 degrees, and we know the graph goes up to 1 and down to -1. So here we're saying, when does sine x, what angle, which value of x, when does sine x equal 0.8? So that's 0.8 there. So hopefully you can see that in the range 0 to 360 degrees, so in one cycle of the graph, there's two places where the sine of an angle is 0.8. So what I'm after are these two x values here. And you may remember the way we do it on the calculator, we do shift sine of 0.8 and it gives us the first value, and then we use what we know about the symmetry of the graph to work out the second value. It's 180 minus the first value. And it's not a super complicated technique, and it's something that as you go through A-level you'll become really familiar with, but wouldn't it be good if our calculator gave us a way of just double checking that we've done it right? And it does. We use the graph function on our calculator, and you'll notice here I've got something that we sketched previously, so I'm going to delete that. So I'm going to go to delete, yes. And now I'm going to plot two graphs. I'm going to plot y equals sine x, but I'm also going to plot y equals 0.8. Now I've got y equals here. If you haven't got that, you need to go to type and select y equals. So my first graph, I'm just going to do sine and x. There's that button there we've used before. And the next one, I want to plot y equals 0.8, so I'm just going to type in 0.8. So the y equals is already in there, we don't need to type that. And now I'm going to draw it. Now, at the moment, the axes are going to look odd, so this is going to look a bit odd when we draw it. So I'm going to change my axes, so something that looks a little bit more like my graph here. And this requires the use of the V window button. So V window is... Now don't worry about the scale and the dot values, just look at the min and the max. So the x minimum I want to plot from 0 to 360. So I'm going to go from 0, so I just type 0 and xe and 360 and xe. I'm then going to go down past scale and dot, not going to fiddle with those. The y axis I need to go from -1 up to +1. So I do -1 and +1, and then I'm going to go exit, and I have to redraw the graph. Actually, one thing I've just noticed that my calculator is in radians mode. Now there's two ways to measure an angle. One is in degrees and one is in radians. We haven't met radians yet, but we are going to. Now if your calculator is in radians mode like mine, you need to change it. What it should say there is deg. If it says deg, degrees, ignore this next bit, but I need to go to Shift, Setup, and change my angle unit to degree. So there's angle. I had to scroll quite a way down in that list, and I'm going to choose deg. There we go. Once I've done that, I don't need to save it, I can just press exit. Right, back to that thing. So I've got a little deg here, so I'm now going to draw it. Right, now here we've got a similar sort of graph. The y equals sine x line and the y equals 0.8 line, which is a horizontal line that goes through 0.8 on the y-axis. So my two solutions are the x value here and here. Do you remember how we find intersections? It's my favourite button on the calculator. It's the G-solve button. So go to G-solve and then intersections, so that's there. And it gives me the two intersections. I flick between them using the cursor. So the coordinates are down the bottom here. So here's the first intersection, and that's excuse me, when x is 53.1 and y is 0.8. Now that's obviously not 53.1, but I'm going to round it to 53.1. We use 3 significant figures by default, and then the next intersection will be 180 minus that, and that's 126.9. But of course, to 3 sig figs, that actually is 127. So those are my two solutions. So see if you can do the same thing to solve cos x this time, equals 0.6, and again we'll go between 0 and 360 degrees. Pause and have a go. Okay, so here are my two solutions. So I've plotted the cos curve, which remember is the sine curve shifted along 90 degrees, and I've also plotted the y equals 0.6 line, and I've got two intersections between 0 and 360. I don't know why it's put 349 there. I've asked it to plot 360, but never mind. I use gsolve and intersect, and the first intersection is 53.1 again. There we go. Second intersection is 360 minus that, so this time it's 306.9, which if you round to 3 sig figs is 307. Good stuff. Stay safe, take exercise, and I will see you, well I won't see you, you'll hear me next week. Take care.